with Chapter Chicks, and I'm here to do a series review today. You guys probably know I am a huge fan of this series. I'm talking about the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. The last book in the series, The Iron Knight, just came out, and I just finished it a couple days ago, and it was so good. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started talking about the books. I don't actually have a copy of The Iron Knight with me because I let Angie from YA Fiction Freaks borrow it. So I don't actually have the physical copy, but I will show a picture when I start talking about that book in particular. So the first book in this series is The Iron King, in pretty gorgeous cover. The second book is The Iron Daughter, and as you can see again, this has a completely gorgeous cover. All of these books have really pretty covers. And then the third book is The Iron Queen, and this one has like a way darker cover, and it's so cool, but it's still really gorgeous. And then there is the Iron Knight cover, which I'll show you now, I guess. Basically, this series is about a young girl who has always been kind of backwards, always been kind of awkward, and someone strange appears in her life and takes her on this crazy magical adventure where she realizes that she is the daughter of one of the fairy courts. And if you guys know anything about fairy folklore or have read any other fairy books really, then you'll know that there are the courts of the fairy world, the summer court and the winter court and all that stuff. And she is the daughter of one of the kings of that court, and the courts are in this crazy war. And of course, Megan, the main character, is a big pawn in that war. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and that's really not even close to all that's going on, but that's what the first book synopsis is, so that's all I'm really going to tell you. And that really is a big part of it, but it's not really all of it. But that's a good chunk of what's going on. But this series is so good. The Iron King I read. I actually picked this book up because Alex from Electrifying Reviews told us to smell it because how much we loved the smell of books. And this book smells so good. So I bought it, and for some reason it took me a while to read it, but after I read it I fell in love with the series. I fell in love with all of the characters. You guys know I'm in love with Ash. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not going to say his name throughout this video because the characters in this book really make this series amazing. It makes it one of those 5 for 5 top books. Now the second book, a lot of people have had a lot of problems with it. I really still enjoyed it. I thought it was a great sequel, but a lot of people didn't like this one, so I'm just going to tell you that if you are one of those people who do not like this one, do not give up on the series because The Iron Queen is so good. This one is not nearly as good as The Iron Queen, and it is a huge stepping stone though, so you need to read it. So read this and then just jump right to The Iron Queen because even if you don't like this one, The Iron Queen is still really good. So, Iron Queen, amazing story. And this was actually supposed to be the end of the series, so you can imagine how epic it is. And the way that it ends, Julie just figured she couldn't leave it that way. So she wrote The Iron Knight, which is a story from one of the other characters' perspectives. It's no longer from Megan's perspective. And it is just so good. And I didn't even know that that was the last book when I was reading it. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so good. And I'm like, it's gonna be the last book because there's no way that all this stuff can be wrapped up and there'll still be another book. And I'm so heartbroken that it's over. And this is just such an amazing series. And I'm so jealous of all the people out there who haven't experienced it yet, because you still have this amazing world to visit. And it's so good. I love this series. It is up there to me with Hunger Games, Mortal Instruments, and Twilight, which is basically, and Harry Potter, which is like the go-to series of any YA lover. So, yeah. This is one of those series. And for some reason, this series is so underrated. I don't hear very many people talking about it, like, raving about it like that. And it is just so good, and I don't understand how it's not getting the hype that it deserves. Because it does have a bunch of hype behind it, but not nearly as much as it deserves, because it is so good. These are the type of books that you will be reading on your breaks at work. when you have 5 minutes to go to the bathroom, you'll be reading it. It's like, they're so good, and once you are entrapped into the story, you're stuck there until the very end, and then at the end you're like, what? This cannot be the end. I want to live here forever. And I think in my written review of The Iron Knight I said that I want to rip open Julie Kagawa's head and just like live in there because it's so amazing. It has this crazy world with Grimm and Ash and Puck and all these crazy great characters and this crazy world. I mean, she uses a lot of the natural fairy folklore, I think, but there's such a creative spin on it. And that is one of the main things that I really, really enjoyed about The Iron King, because there's this stuff going on, and it has such a great underlying theme to our world. As you guys know, Borders closed recently, and a big part of that closing was due to the e-readers and the electronic book world now. And, like, to me, The Iron King kind of addresses that issue. The fact that the things that people have loved for centuries, and or I guess centuries, decades, the things that people have loved are changing, and they're evolving, and the Iron Fae series really addresses that and really addresses the effects of those changes, and I think that's amazing. I think that's, like, as you guys know, I really like books that have meanings, but are still paranormal and still, like, you know, gushy and mushy and lovable, and I want to just take this series and, like, just live in it. If I could pick any series to live in, it would be this one, or Harry Potter, but the fact that this is up there, the fact that I can consider choosing this series over Harry Potter, not like greatness wise, but like the worlds, should really tell you that this is a good series, because not many books compete. There's only like 5 series that I consider my go-to series that I just can't live without. I'm like better for reading, and this is one of them. If I had to pick a favorite out of this series, I think it would be The Iron... Oh my god, I can't even tell. I don't even know. Like, I'm sitting here and it's such a good series altogether that I can't even really remember which book is which, except I know the ending of The Iron Queen because it was so epic. But I can't, like, even pick a favorite. Like, I like The Iron King because it sets up so much, and you don't even realize that it's setting up all this crazy stuff. You don't even realize what's happening to you, and then you read The Iron Daughter, and it continues on in that. But there's, like, so much trouble. And then The Iron Queen, it, like, starts to wrap up, and it tears your heart out, and it puts it back together, and it's such an epic experience. And then you have The Iron Knight, which, oh my god, I cried so much during The Iron Knight because it was just so good. And these characters, they're experiencing all of these terrible things and all these great things, and you're just like stuck in love with these worlds and these characters. And I think I've said that about 450 times in this review already. But if you have not checked out the Iron Fae series, please do so. And if you got stuck on one of the books, please continue, because this series is one of those series where I really felt satisfied at the end. And even some of my other favorite series, like Mockingjay, for example, I hated the way it ended. I hated that I didn't get a wrapped up, satisfied feeling. And not even like satisfaction, it just wasn't wrapped up enough for me. It was left too open. And the Vampire Academy series, I feel like, was left too open. And those are some like big series. And this one, I feel like it's wrapped up. It ends so well that you don't feel like there has to be another book, even though you want another book. So yeah, that is pretty much all I'm going to say, because anything else I say is just going to be repetitive. I love this book. It's amazing. The series is one of the best series that I have read. And I have read a ton. So if you have not checked it out, please do so. But one thing I want you to be wary of. Do you see this? Well, now you can't see it as well. Do you see that? This book is bigger than the rest of them. So make sure, if you have not bought this series yet, if you're one of those people that bothers, because I am, then make sure you get the taller ones of these two. Because it drives me insane that does not fit. And I don't understand why book places do that, but yeah. I am Jessica with Chapter Chicks. This is my series review over the Iron Face series by Julie Kagawa, and this chapter was for you. Thanks for watching.